This has been a year like none other. And the people of St. Mark's have responded, caring for one another and the world around us, staying connected and worshiping together, even while apart.
Hi, Deacon Mary here. I started with you in March. We had a few things going on, a couple services, a couple fish dinners, Bishop's Committee meeting, and then Friday the 13th in March. That was about the last thing we did. But I'm very glad that we have Zoom to communicate with one another. I've learned how to use that pretty effectively. I've been able to involve myself in the outreach at St. Mark's, which is an incredibly strong and spirit-filled thing. And I've adjusted, so to speak, to the new normal as the year went speeding by. It amazed me how busy a person can be when they don't go anywhere. I found connections online with some of you with common interests, which is great. And I'm grateful to be with each and every one of you online and hoping in the future we can be back inside our church and recognize each other because we are wearing masks. God bless.
Niambi and I joined you in July, and what an adventure in the middle of a pandemic. But what a welcome with cupcakes and Zoom. I have been so thankful to worship with you and to get to know you over Zoom coffee hour and Zoom dinner club. I've been so inspired by the newly combined outreach and advocacy teams of St. Mark's and the Cathedral. The members of these groups are actively engaging with partner organizations in our community and helping us be the best neighbors in the city of Erie we can be.
I'm Gary Lonke, and I was part of a group from St. Mark's and the Cathedral doing a Lenten book study last year. It was on Richard Rohr's book, The Divine Dance, the Trinity, and Your Transformation. About 40 of us met in groups at the Cathedral. But when COVID hit and health restrictions prevented us from meeting in person, we did what all good Episcopalians did. We met on Zoom. And in meeting on Zoom, we had a smaller group, but the discussion on the book was far richer and more beneficial. As Episcopalians, we often have questions, and we are open to new ideas, and that's why I think this book was such a good fit for us. The ideas in the book had us asking new things, new questions, and it stretched our understanding of the Trinity and who God is. And that's what I loved about this book study. In the last chapter, Rohr writes this, and I want to read to you from the book. We can't diminish God's love for us. What we can do, however, is learn how to believe it, receive it, trust it, allow it, and celebrate it. And that pearl of spiritual wisdom is what I think we try to encourage and live here at St. Mark's.
Hey, St. Mark's, how are ya? It's so good to be with you, albeit digitally. I'm here to offer Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving to you, to Craig, and to Jill. At the beginning of this pandemic, we realized on the bishop's staff that we had a lot of congregations that were not going to be able to offer any type of worship digitally. As is often the case with bishops and canons, we had the idea, but we needed some other people to make it happen. Craig designed our entire worship and the music. He and Jill provided the bulk of the music for those first number of months. 300 people a week join in worship. Thank you, St. Mark's.
We used to meet at church, but since March of last year, 2020, we have been on Zoom. We just finished up a 22-week study on Isaiah, and we're into Romans right now. What we do is we read a passage from the Bible, and then we, using the study guide, we answer questions. We talk about what's going on. We try to understand. We try to apply it to our own lives, and there's a lot of personal sharing and applying it to ourselves. And then we always end with prayer. And it's become a real source of strength and comfort, I think, for the people in the Bible study, particularly right now when we are so separated.
The prayer team has two facets. There's a group of us that are meeting on Zoom now because we can't meet at church on a regular basis. We started praying every week because there was so much. Every week brought new concerns. And we have seen a pretty big uptick in prayer requests that come through We Care, and people then sharing things on Sunday morning now during prayers of the people. So that's how we get the prayer requests. Plus, they also come from Bible study because that group of people will come with prayer requests. I feel like it's been really important for this past year. A lot of people have had there's always surgeries and hospitalizations, people praying for healing and over grief, losses, things like that.
As with so many other things during COVID, our outreach has been modified to fit different needs and abilities. While we're no longer able to provide food for the students at the Charter School of Excellence, we did provide winter coats, hats, scarves, and gloves to about 100 CSD students back in the fall.
That's a good feeling because those kids don't have those things and we take that for granted.
Last April, when there was so much uncertainty and businesses had to close due to COVID-19, St. Mark's and the outreach wanted to do something. So we decided not only to support the essential workers, but also businesses that were struggling during the pandemic.
In addition, the project with Blue STEM has also continued. Most recently, there was a large shipment of clothes from Blair that has been sorted and is awaiting distribution at the warehouse. Thanks so much to everyone who has donated their time, talent, and treasure.
Why would he include this when the majority of the other gospel writers didn't? What was so important to Luke that this be recorded? And then we read the Acts of the Apostles, and it was amazing how much they traveled and how much they did within a relatively short span of time. And we also talked about the spiritual gifts, and I think all of them appeared in Acts. But being face to face, because we are face to face, just divided by a screen, but being face to face and being able to talk and see someone react was really helpful for me. I didn't feel so disconnected.
From pre-pandemic bowling to post-pandemic Zoom and distance events like Bishops' Committee check-ins, marching for justice, blessing of the backpacks, worship under the tent, the windy, cold tent, Halloween, Advent, and more. A pandemic didn't stop St. Mark's from being the community it is. This time will come to an end, and this community will gather in person once again, taking with us the lessons we've learned. Just wait till next year.